Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and ReadersMagnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, ReadersMagnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank ReadersMagnet and everybody that's involved. I love ReadersMagnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hi, good day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We now have 25 more days to go before our second season of the Festival of Storytellers. It'll be this coming November 8th up until the 21st, a 14-day fun-filled event that will show you exactly how everyone has a story to tell. We are live via our Readers Magnet Facebook page and Readers Magnet YouTube channel. On set today, we have the very lovely Kylen Barron. Hi, Kylen.
Hey, Frank. How are you today?
Oh, I'm totally blessed. How about yourself?
I feel just like you, dear. Thank you for asking. Thank you very much.
I so love the background, Kylen.
Thank you.
By the way, guys, this is Kylen's second run. This is her second time on set. Kylen authored the book Unspoken Truth from a Buried Past, right, Kylen?
Right, and here's a copy of it.
There you go. All right. So, Kylen, for those who aren't able to watch us live during our first set, right, the book actually covers a lot of topics, right? One of which is, it discusses mental health awareness, mental health issues, Black lives, racial discrimination, racial tension, right? But what I love the most is that this is dedicated to someone who's very dear to you, right?
Yeah.
It's actually her story, in fact, your mom.
It is my mom. It is, and actually my brother, and that. Unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to grow up with or even get to know. And it is a situation that happened back in the mid 50s. And my mother never spoke of it. And I was, I would say, approaching my senior citizen years when we found out that she did have a son. And unfortunately, it wasn't shared with us, but on her deathbed, she kept calling for this baby. And it was amazing how we didn't know. We thought it was someone that maybe she sat with or babysat with in her earlier years. And this baby came to fruition in 2014, 5 years after my mother passed away. And once he was able to reveal who he was and tell us his story, then my journey began,
Do
because
you? Mhm.
I,
Yeah,
I,
go ahead, continue.
I wanted to know the type of person, like I explained the last time,
Hmm.
that my mother was. She dealt with a lot of harsh issues when it came to raising subsequently the children she had after her second child was born. And this is the second child we never ever knew of. And there's 8 of us in the family, and 8 children total combined, and one we just didn't know about. And he is biracial, and not that that means anything to any of us, but it was just the overall situation that covered that, just literally drove her to a dark place from the moment on. But there's a lot behind that that was uncovered. And I wish that she were here today so that I can say, Mom, I love you. I forgive you. And just hold her and just say, you could have come to us, you could have talked with us, and that never happened.
All right. Now, do you still have you communicated with your brother?
I
Do you have
have.
any means of communication with him?
Yes, we have. We have communicated. He's an awesome person, and we look a lot alike, I think, but he looks like everyone. He has a lot of my mother's characteristics. It's in her eyes. You see his eyes, you see her. You see him smile, you see her. His character, he has a lot of charisma about him. He actually lives out there by you. And very handsome, but he's a gentleman through and through. And he's a cool dude. He really is, and I love him to life. And there's no harshness. This is not his fault. This Nothing
Yes.
that's happened is not his fault. And I need it, and I state that in the book. But what personally I had to deal with growing up was a very high level of both physical and emotional abuse from my mother. And that was coming from her darkness. And, even my own father never knew of this baby that she had, because the story behind it was the baby died at birth. And that's the story she had to tell her parents, and never reveal that that baby was still indeed alive. And so, unfortunately, my grandmother went to her grave not knowing that she had a 22nd grandchild. And, and my grandmother, who was a nurse and a midwife, loved children. And she would have loved him just as unconditionally as she loved all the rest of us. And she died in 2012 at 102, not knowing that she had this grandchild. And that broke me, because my grandmother was very near and dear to me. And, she had every right to know. But I understand the reason why my mother wouldn't tell her, and why my mother lied to her. And the one person that held that secret close passed away about 3 years ago, at the age of 91,
And that
92.
is,
Her first husband.
I see.
Her first
Now,
husband.
let me give you this opportunity. Let's just say you have your mom and you
Mm-hmm.
have your brother. You're
Mm-hmm.
having an early morning cup of coffee.
Yes.
What will you tell them?
I would tell them both that I love. It's okay. It's okay. I'm certainly sure there'd be a lot of tears. There'd be a lot of hugging. Uh, my mother would be doing a lot of explaining, but I understand why she couldn't. Um, and I know that she would love her son. She would be ecstatic to see that he was fine, he was okay. That I do know for a fact. Um, and it would be difficult for her, but this is her child. This is the baby that is still alive. And all of her children are still alive. This is the one that she let get away. And it emotionally drained her for the rest of her life from 1957 until the day she died in 2009. So, um, it would have been hurtful, but for me and myself and my sisters, it would have been it would have been consoling rather, to see, because no one wants to be hurt. No one wants to see that
True.
in any family member. And all he wanted to know was who his mother was and who his father was. And he had every right to know. And, he was adopted thinking that his adoptive parents was truly his biological parents. So he's a little older than I am. He's very handsome, very
How old
handsome.
is he, by the way?
He's 2.5 years older than myself. I believe he would be 65 coming up. And we just
Mhm.
met about 7 years ago. It's been about 7 years now since I've known him.
What was his reaction when he came to know that you've published this material?
It wasn't easy because he really didn't know, but I had been saying that I was going to write about it. It was a fascinating story, and I made no secrets about it. So for those who knew, and even in the family, so it was definitely a journey I decided to embark on.
Hmm.
And, it's just not my story. You'd be surprised at the millions of men and women and families who shares the same identical story as I do. There's probably many books out there like this as well, but this is unique. It tells a very unique story, and when I met my brother, I was in love with him, hands down. He looked exactly like my mother's baby brother, who I'm very close to, my uncle. And so getting to know him was priority. His reaction was not, at first, it was unwelcoming, because I have written about it, but it wasn't a secret. It shouldn't have been a secret to him. I've always made that known. And, but we talk from time to time. And I also let him know that nothing in this book is geared to hurt him in any way. This book really, really embarks on my fractured relationship with my mother, and now that I understand why, she was driven into such a dark space for the remainder of her life. Um, it was because she gave her child up, and not just giving him up, the story she had to tell people in order to keep them off her back, and even her first husband, who had to maintain that same story for almost 60 years. And he couldn't handle it. And I felt bad when he passed away because I felt like I opened up old wounds. It was the two of them together who came up with this, we're just going to tell everybody the baby died at birth. And the baby wasn't there. When I found out, the only other person who was aware of this baby was my oldest brother, my mother's first child that she had with her first husband. And so without giving too much of the book away, it actually starts with my mother's, it starts with her diagnosis of RCC, renal cell carcinoma, which took her within 2 years of her diagnosis. And as I say in the book, although she had a lot of friends and family that rallied around her uh, during the time that she was leaving us, she died alone. She still died alone. There was such a huge hole in her heart. This is the baby she continued to call for while on hospice, while unable to get out of her bed, while unable to go to the restroom or bathroom on her own. She is literally calling for a baby in the chair that no one knew. And, hospice said that she would see things and hear things that were not there. She did. And she constantly saw two people. One was her father and one was her son.
Whew. You know what? Hearing that from you, I can say that you really have a very pure heart in accepting that you have a brother, right? And also in understanding why your mom is acting that way of her decisions, right?
Yes.
Because we cannot judge them,
Right.
right? What we
Right.
just need to do is to understand, their actions and where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
And that's so pure of you.
Absolutely. I
Mhm.
had to understand because out of, she had a set of twins, myself and my brother Kevin.
Mhm.
And she had other children behind us, but I was the oldest girl. There's actually three boys before me, and one happens to be my twin. But uh, I was the one she targeted the most, and even my father would question why I became her target. I was her oldest daughter, and she had other children, other daughters behind me. But I was the one she targeted the most. So the abuse was real, and I had to get help for myself because I myself began to spiral down a dark hole, not understanding why she was the way towards me the way she was. It is a story, again, I feel that needs to get out there because mental health issues are real.
True.
It destroys families. It destroys families if the help is not gotten. But I'm going to say something that my grandmother used to
Please.
always say to us is to keep God first. Keep God first in everything you do. You can't
Amen.
go wrong with that. And, with me, I had to learn how to take one step in front of the other slowly and keep God first in prayer and everything I do to guide me through what I was dealing with. I dealt with high levels of anxiety, serious depression. I talk about my depression in the book. I talk about being diagnosed as bipolar with manic depression. I got help for it. I had to. I could not continue to live my life like this. What I was not my mother. I was not her. My depression was internal, not to lash out at other people, but I was destroying me without getting the necessary help I needed. When my brother came along, then I began to understand why she was the way she was, little by little. It didn't happen overnight, but the more I heard, the more digging I did. I was so determined because it became part of my healing process. That's what I needed to do for me in order to be able to help anyone else and help them get through it. So if anyone would come to me and say, I heard your story, what can I do? As a matter of fact, like I on my website, inside that website, with the purchase of the paperback book of Unspoken Truth,
Mhm.
there's 15% of the proceeds that goes to shelters for women and children of
Wow.
abuse. All right. And I say that on the site.
You can mention the charity if
That
you.
there are charities,
Mhm.
absolutely, that are on my website. If they just
Mhm.
visit the website, they will see that. So these are
It
donations
mhm.
because this is real to me and it means a lot to me. And I believe in giving back. And not that I want anything from it. It's about helping those who are less
Helping.
fortunate, right? To just be
Exactly.
there for those who are less fortunate and that cannot or unable rather to do for themselves and don't know what resources they have in front of them. This means the world to me. And if I can put those resources out there so nobody else has to deal with what I had to deal with even as an adult. I am 62 years old. I'll be 62 rather in January. And, I have less time behind me, in front of me than I have behind me. And I want to be able to put what I need to put out there. I want to be able to make a difference. I want to be able to let this book, this nonfiction, more like autobiography, tell the story that mental health is real, and you cannot allow it to destroy your family. You have to talk about it. You have to let people know what's going on before you leave this world. In our case, we knew nothing. And my father passed away in 2011, and he knew nothing because the type of man he was, he would have definitely said something. This was not his child. My oldest brother was not his child. My parents had 5 children together. All right. So if he had known, he would have said, even on he had a massive heart attack and he died suddenly. But he would have said, you need to find your brother. That's the type of man my father was, had he known. The one man who did tell the story in the book, his nickname was Captain. His story was riveting. He gave me 17 hours. This is her first husband, whom I've never met. I never met. The story behind this, if I give this away, I have to come after you, Frank. But how I got to meet him was almost, I could say, phenomenal. And well, I'm gonna say it real quick. I was in Delaware. I was working in Delaware, and it was like I had this force sitting beside me in my car that says, "You want to know the story? You got to go see him." And it was like my mother was spiritually there by my side because she knew what my mission was. And at that moment, I called her brother in South Carolina and asked him for this gentleman's information. And without hesitation, my uncle would usually ask me, why, what do you need it for what reason? Never asked that. He just off the bat gave me the information.
Offered you help right away.
Just like that. I never told him what for, though. So I went to this gentleman's house, and the rest is history. How he was. He never met me, but the things that he began to say to me began to make sense. I got a lot of possibly, probably answers, but not the truth. And this truth was the man that she was married to until after the baby was born. This is what makes this book so riveting, so real. It is my story. It is literally about my fractured relationship with my mother, trying to understand who she was, why she did the things she did, why she treated her children the way she did. There's a lot of anger there. There was a lot of hurt there. There was a lot of emotion that we had no idea. And I know when she was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma, one of the things she wanted to do was go into getting help, like for counseling for her illness and whatever was going on with her emotionally. Every time we would make an appointment, she would cancel. And that was because one of the things I said to her, Mom, when we go to these counseling sessions, you have to be honest. They cannot help you if you're not honest and upfront. All right.
Agree.
And I felt that she, and thinking in hindsight now, I felt that she was afraid. This is why she kept canceling, because she was afraid to tell this story. She was afraid for anybody to find out, especially during the time her mother, who was still alive, would find out.
Thinking she might be judged too, right?
Right. And I'm not judging, because I was young too once. And, I understand the mind of a youthful woman. But in her case, it was an unfortunate situation. Again, out of that came a beautiful baby boy, and now an awesome brother. And, I can't tell him enough. It's never my intention to hurt anyone. That's not who I am. It's not in my DNA. It's not in my heart or my soul. He's a really good guy. He's got a great wife. He's living his life. My mother had as a matter of fact, my mother had 3 grandchildren living in the city of Philadelphia that she never knew. She never knew. And one who lived literally right around the corner from her on her deathbed, she never knew. So I had 2 nieces and a nephew that we didn't know belonged to the confines of this family, that we actually do share the same DNA. So it is very real. And to me, families have to know. My mother, for some strange odd reason, would always say family should always know who they are. But this one, she would not talk about. She wouldn't tell us. Mm-hmm.
Kylen, I may not have the same exact experience, but for sure there are those who have experienced the same. But definitely people can relate to this.
Yes.
And this book isn't just a must-have, but it's a must-read.
Yes.
Because it has a story. It champions, how important family is, right? It talks about, topics that are, can be a taboo to some families, right?
Yes.
And I believe this book actually stitched a portion of that relationship between you and your mom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I can't say enough. I miss my mother. I'm not going to say I don't. I don't miss her nefarious ways, right? I don't miss the abuse. I don't, but I do miss her. And, I when I do go back to her hometown, I make it my it's important for me to go to her gravesite, and she's buried next to her father, just to sit there and talk to her. I know that she can't hear me. I realize that she's not here, but a part of her still lives with me, a large part of
Mm-hmm.
her, because I mean, not every day was a bad day. There were good days, but there were more down days than there were good days. And I now that I understand more, I talk to her in spirit. So, I believe that she holds my heart.
For those who are watching us live, right, Kylan, they can purchase a copy of the book Unspoken Truth from a Buried Past, available on Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble, and BarnesandNoble.com. And for our viewers, if you would like to know more about Kylan, you can visit www.unspokentruth.net. Kylan, what are the things that our viewers or fairgoers would be expecting during your live sessions this coming Festival of Storytellers? I believe you have something in store for them.
Well, in addition to the book Unspoken Truth from a Buried Past, I don't know. Let me bring it into the thing here.
That's a very
I
lovely
think this is
cover.
a couple of a picture of the book, a copy of the book actually. I
Mhm.
also have cups and coasters that are giveaways. So we're still working on the details of the festival storybook storytellers, and this is a copy of the coaster. A copy of the coaster, the actual coaster. Let me
The
see.
actual
Can you see?
coaster.
Yeah, can you see it there? Okay,
Yep.
there's a coaster. We also have T-shirts. I don't know. Let me know if
These items are available on the website too, right?
Not yet. We are looking
Oh,
to, let me see. Let me get that up. Can you see that, Frank?
yes, I
Okay.
can see that.
We also have
Mhm.
T-shirts with this as well. They will be up on the website. They will be up on Amazon, and they will be up on my website. But they're not there yet. But we're making that happen. I do have a lot on my plate with Readers Magnet. We're just trying to get things squared away and situated. I appreciate you guys. I am absolutely humbled by this experience. I just want you to know, and helping me get the word out on mental health awareness. And
We
go ahead. Go ahead.
we are happy to have you as our featured author too, because you are an author who has something to really share to people. There is you have advocacy, right? You have an
Yeah.
advocacy. Well, in fact, you at the backstage, you shared to me about coming up with another material that would also talk about addressing mental health issues.
Yes.
Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, we're talking.
That's on the pipeline.
That's on the pipeline. Yes, this is
Hmm.
it's a children's book that
Hmm.
we actually had to push back a little bit before
Hmm.
production and getting it released. It's called How's Your Day? And this book is a children's book on autism. My grandson, my oldest grandson rather, is autistic, and everyone knows that he's near and dear to my heart. I mean, when he was born, he wrapped his heart around mine and never let go, and that's where we stand today. So it's very important for me, to make autism more aware to the public, and what it's about, dealing with autism, especially in the African American community. And there's several layers to it, and understanding autism, and also understanding it in the various stages as these children grow into adults. And that's what my book is called. One of the main reasons how I came up with that title is because my grandson, when he does speak to you, one of the first things he'll ask you after saying hello is, "How's your day?" And I thought that became phenomenal for a title for him. So it is a book that's absolutely dedicated towards my grandson. Yes, yes. And then I have another nonfiction coming out. I won't reveal that yet.
Okay, well, let's keep our
We're still
viewers,
coming out with
on the
names.
lookout for those materials, right? Well,
Yes,
Kylan, it has
yes.
always been a pleasure having you on set. You always surprise us, right? And yes, to our viewers, Kylan Barron, the ever lovely Kylan Barron, right? Author
Thank
of the
you.
book Unspoken Truth from a Buried Past, available on
Yes.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, And you can also visit www.unspokentruth.net. Learn more about the book and learn more about Kylen Barron.
Yeah.
So, Kylen, I am very much excited to see you during the stage live this coming November. And I'll be there. I'll definitely watch you. All right.
You should. I don't want to have to come out to California for you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Frank.
Kylen. Thank you so much. For our viewers, visit Kylen's website. Again, it's www.unspokentruth.net. You can also visit our site, www.thefestivalofstorytellers.com. You can sign up for free as a fair goer. With Reader's Magnet, we share your stories with the world. Have a great day.